David is 63 years old. He spent 35 years in manufacturing. He claimed his Social Security benefit at age 62. Why? Because he needed the income. Last Tuesday, his old boss just called him, hey, part-time consulting, 20 hours a week, good money, flexible schedule. David said yes on the spot. That night, he sat down to run the numbers, and he realized he had no idea whether he had just made a smart move or a really expensive mistake. If you've ever been in that moment, or you know you're heading toward that moment, this video is for you. Millions of Americans are collecting Social Security right now and either working or thinking about going back to work or wondering if they should have waited to claim in the first place. These rules sound so simple, and they're not. And the difference between getting this right and getting it wrong can be $50,000 to $100,000 over the course of retirement. Look, these are the 2026 numbers, updated, accurate, and explained in plain language. This is Brain Flash. We covered the money decisions that actually matter for people in or near retirement. And so what David needs is a number, not a theory, not credentials. He just needs real math in plain English. By the end of this video, David will have a way to make that decision, and so will you. Before we get to a single rule, we need to ask the question that nobody asks first. Why are you working? Because the answer changes everything. There are really three types of people in this conversation. The first is income dependent. Social Security alone covers the bills, but nothing else. Working isn't a lifestyle choice for this person. It's the math of survival. And the rules we're going to talk about today are not optional reading for him. The second is the runway extender. Benefits are fine, but every year of earned income is a year the 401 can keep compounding untouched. He's buying time with his own labor, and he knows it. The third is the purpose seeker. He has the savings, he just needs the structure, the identity, the reason to get up in the morning, and the research, it backs him up. Staying active and engaged extends both your savings runway and your life. David, he fits in that category as a runway extender. Which one are you? Because the rest of this video is going to hit really differently depending upon how you answer that question. Here's what almost nobody tells you before you claim Social Security. Every year you delay claiming past age 62 adds roughly 6 to 8% to your benefit permanently. Not temporarily, not until some break-even point, forever. So if David could have covered his expenses through earned income for even 2 or 3 more years before claiming, his monthly check for the rest of his life would have been meaningfully larger. So the question most people ask is, can I work and collect at the same time? Well, the deeper question, the one that really matters, is this. Should I be working instead of collecting right now? David claimed at 62. We're going to find out exactly what that decision cost him, and much more importantly, what his options look like today. David said yes to the job. The offer is $36,000 a year, about $3,000 a month. You know what? It feels like a win. Here's what the Social Security Administration does not send him a letter about. In 2026, if you're under your full retirement age, your FRA, and you earn more than $24,480, the government is going to withhold $1 in benefits for every $2 you earn above that line. David is $11,520 over the limit. That means roughly $5,760 in withheld benefits. All of a sudden, that $36,000 job just feels like a $30,000 job and he has no idea. That's the earnings limit. That's the trout. David's neighbor, he hears this and he panics. He's got rental income, a small pension, and IRA withdrawals. Here's the good news for him. None of it counts. The earnings limit only applies to wages and net self-employment income. So W-2 work or business income where you're actively working. Investment income does not count. Dividends does not count. Capital gains does not count. Pension payments does not count. How about an IRA? 401k distributions does not count. How about rental income? Does not count. For middle-class retirees drawing from different streams of revenue, this changes the math significantly. The only income that triggers the earnings limit is the kind you earn by showing up and working. So David's next question is really a smart one. How does Social Security even know what I'm making? Is somebody checking my paycheck every week? Well, no. Here's how the system actually works. When you apply to collect Social Security, they ask you to estimate your earnings for the year. If you say, well, I expect to earn $33,000, they calculate the overage and determine how much of your benefit needs to be withheld right now. So in many cases, Social Security withholds the entire monthly check, okay, until that amount is satisfied, and then payments kick in and resume normally. At the end of the year, the Social Security Administration compares your estimate to your actual W-2 or self-employment income. If you earn more than expected, they may ask you for an additional repayment. Surprise! The IRS and the Social Security Administration, they talk to each other. The system eventually finds you out. All right, how old is David? David is 63. His full retirement age is 67, 4 years away. But here's something almost nobody tells him about the year he turned 67. In that year, the earnings limit jumps from $24,480 to $65,160. But only the earnings before the month he reaches his full retirement age even count toward that limit. And the penalty also softens. Instead of $1 withheld for every $2 over the limit, it drops to $1 in benefits withheld to every $3. Then, the moment his birthday passes, guess what? The limit disappears entirely. Zero. Work as much as you want. Earn as much as you want. Keep every single dollar of Social Security. The FRA birthday, it's not just an age. For David, it's a financial finish line. David asked the question almost every person in his situation asks, is the money they're withholding gone forever? No. Here's how the recalibration works. When you reach your full retirement age, the Social Security Administration looks back at how many months of benefits were withheld because you exceeded the earnings limit. They treat those withheld months as if you had delayed claiming for that same period, and they adjust your monthly benefit upward going forward to reflect that. The withheld money, it comes back, but comes back gradually. It comes back in the form of a higher monthly check, not in a lump sum. But here's the harder truth that David needs to sit with. The permanent reduction he accepted by claiming at 62, that 30% cut, that does not come back the same way. Those are two completely different things. Temporary withholding from exceeding the earnings limit, that you get back at your FRA. Permanent early claiming reduction because you claimed at 62, that lives with you for the rest of your life. Many people confuse them. Guess what? Now you won't. Let's put some real numbers on David's decision. His full benefit at full retirement age, again, FRA, would have been $1,800 a month. Claiming at 62 permanently reduces it to approximately $1,260. That's a $540 less every single month for the rest of his life. Over 20 years, that's nearly $130,000. And here's the layer that most people never account for. Social Security pays a cost of living adjustment almost every year since 1975. That adjustment has averaged around 3.5% annually. That adjustment is applied to your base benefit. So, a higher base benefit doesn't just mean more money today. It means a larger cost of living increase every single year after that. The gap between claiming at 62 versus waiting, it doesn't stay flat. It compounds every year. Look, David can't undo age 62, but knowing this changes every decision he makes from here on out. Here's the angle that runway extenders like David need to see really clearly. Every year David earns income in retirement is a year he does not touch his savings. At a 6% annual return, $200,000 left untouched for 3 years becomes roughly $238,000. That's $38,000 in growth that only exists because he kept on working. Work in retirement, it's not just about the paycheck. It's about what the paycheck allows the portfolio to do. For runway extenders, the real return on working, it's not the salary, it's the compounding. So, David starts to see a completely different picture. What if instead of $36,000 full-time, he negotiates down 15 hours a week, $22,000 a year, just under that earnings limit? Run the comparison. Full-time at $36,000. Benefits partially withheld. Taxes are higher. Stress is a lot higher in that full-time role. And he's still drawing down the portfolio. Part-time at $22,000 plus $1,260 a month in Social Security. That's roughly $37,000 in combined annual income. About the same as that full-time job, but half the hours. And the portfolio is untouched and compounding. Look, that's the sweet spot. Part-time work under the earnings limit combined with getting your full Social Security. That's the combination. Most financial conversations never surface. It's available to David right now. So let's talk about something the other videos really rarely cover clearly. What are David's options if he wants to change the decision he made back at 62? Well, there's one. Option one is called a withdrawal of benefits. If you've been collecting Social Security for 12 months or less, you can go back to the SSA, withdraw your claim, but you have to repay everything you've received and restart as if you never claimed. But Social Security generally, they usually allow this once in your lifetime. Your benefit resets to a higher amount. Going forward, you get a clean slate, you start again. David started collecting 14 months ago. He missed that window by 2 months. That option is closed for him. Option two is available to anyone at full retirement age or later, and it's called a suspension of benefits. You tell the SSA, look, stop sending your checks. You don't pay anything back, but if benefits being paid to other people on your record, they also stop during the suspension period. And for every year you are not collecting after your full retirement age, your benefit grows by 8% up until age 70. David is 63 now. In 4 years, at 67, he can suspend his benefit, let it grow for 2 or 3 years, and restart at a meaningfully higher monthly amount. Suspension of benefits is not really well known. It is real. And for people who claimed early and regret it, it is the lever they did not know they even had. David now has something he did not have at the start of this video. Not just rules, but a way to think about it. So we've got 5 questions. Question 1, what is my why for working? Income dependency, runway extension, or just some purpose? Question 2, where am I relative to my full retirement age? And how does that change the earnings limit and the math that goes along with that? Question 3, is the delay claiming strategy still available to me, or have I already claimed? Now I need to look at a suspension down the road. Question 4, what does the part-time sweet spot look like in my specific numbers? Is there a combination of work and Social Security that beats full-time income? Question 5, what is my exposure? If Social Security benefits are reduced, and does extra savings now change my risk profile? These 5 questions, they don't have a universal answer. They have your answers. So David pulls up the retirement reality check. It walks him through exactly these questions using his actual numbers, his Social Security estimate, his income sources, his full retirement age date, his savings, runway. He can see that part-time sweet spot. He can see the suspension strategy. He can see the cut and the impact that scenario would have. He can make a real decision instead of just a guess. Drop your email at brainflash.com and the retirement reality check, it comes straight to your inbox. No guessing, no spreadsheet built from scratch, just your number, your path, your decision. David goes back to his old boss. He doesn't say yes to $36,000 full-time. He negotiates 15 hours a week at a rate that keeps him under the earnings limit. His Social Security keeps coming in full and uninterrupted. He stops touching the portfolio. He runs his numbers on that reality check, and he sees that in 4 years at 67, the earnings limit disappears entirely. And at that point, he can then revisit the full-time conversation, but from a position of strength. He did not get the rule right the first time, but he got the strategy right the second time. Look, that's the move. If this video helps you think differently about working in retirement, would you please subscribe? We put out videos every week on money decisions that actually matter in retirement. No noise, no fluff, just the real stuff.